Pappy's back this week. Uh, the subject is these little dollies that I've got the firebird sitting on. I've had them for a few years and they worked good on a Jeep Wrangler that I had a while back. Um, Considerably lighter than the firebird, I know, but still, these things should roll. I've got really good concrete floors down here and I just can't get the front end to roll at all. I know it's heavy up front, so I'm going to try to reinforce those two. See what we can do to get this thing where one person can move the car around. That's the whole point of these dollies. So that's what we're going to do today. See what we can do to fix this problem and get these things to work right. I don't know if I need heavier duty casters, or I think they may just be flexing. It's just stamped metal. It's not the best dolly out there. So there may be a way I can reinforce it, but we're going to address that today. So just watch me work. Sort it out. All right. Let's see if we can get this firebird jacked up. And get these plates out of there and see if there's a way we can reinforce them. We got here. Let's see what we got going on. Well, I see part of it right there. It is bowing. So, let's see if we can come up with something to reinforce this across there. I think that could be part of our problem. And that looks like that's coming. I bet that's part of the swivel problem too. We're going to flip these screws over because apparently they're too long. That might be my problem there. These things roll good. Put a little heavier grease on the bearings there. They feel a little rough. Not the best quality, but we'll see what we can do. Let's flip these screws over. I didn't even think about that hitting when it flexes. Let's see. That's the two I need. I'm having trouble with right here. I think that's going to be a big deal of it right there. And then the flexing. I apparently lost a couple of screws and I didn't have the original ones. So it could be just be a hardware problem. I'm going to flip this over and go this way. I didn't even think about that. I saw that when I set the car down on it and didn't think anything about them rubbing. But That's what I think's happening. There's my problem. I don't think I got any more like that. We came up a couple of screws short, and I just used what I had. Didn't even think about it. So I guess anybody could do that. I'm definitely anybody or nobody. We may come back and readdress this, but I might better see if we can reinforce it too while I'm at it. I don't really see a whole lot of evidence of them hitting, but every little bit causes that to bind. That might have been part of it. I don't think it's all of it. I don't want to start. Get this out where you can see what I'm doing. Alright. Now, how can I reinforce this plate? Or do we even really need to? Let's look at this and see how she's rolling. Yeah, she doesn't switch direction very good. Maybe put a little bit of oil on that thing. Oil instead of spray lube or some type of a grease. These are rolling good, but these don't feel so good. And there's my problem. It's when I try to change direction. I think once it starts rolling, it rolls. I wonder though if I put just something like even a 2x4 across there, it would reinforce this thing and sandwich it in there and get some longer bolts, of course, and run them through. Or maybe a piece of flat steel. What do we got? Got some angle. I think. Let's see. I don't know if that'd help a lot. Or would I be better off to use wood? I've got plenty of wood. Let's look at this. Sometimes good old wood bolted against metal makes pretty strong situation. I don't know. Versus a piece of 2x4. I've got longer pieces. I'm just going to use this as a reference to get a look, an eyeball of what we're dealing with here. You know, get a couple of 2-inch bolts, go all the way through. Let's see if we got anything here. If not, we might run out, have to run to the store. Carriage bolts do work nice. I think that's what I'm going to get. I'm going to do the 2x4 thing. We got to do 4 of those. 2 on each of them. The back are fine. I'm not going to fool with that. But we're going to reinforce that plate, I think, with bolts. And then I'll put some big washers up. I got plenty of those. We got plenty of fender washers. Oh yeah. I've got a bunch over here especially. Oh yeah. I wonder if a 3/8 bolt would be better than a 5/16. And I think it would flatten that back out just fine. It's an experiment. We'll see how this does. We'll put one on your diagonal. Or I could go with just a strip across the top and drill the holes that way. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to run to the store. I need to take my tanks in and get them filled anyway. My oxygen acetylene tank over there. So when we do that, I think we're going to stop and pick up some hardware. I think I am going to use the 2x4. And then we'll bolt it down that way. Maybe I'll put a metal plate over top of that. But I think that wood sandwiched in there will kind of dampen some of the vibrations and noise, and it may help make it more rigid. I don't know. I don't know. You don't want it to flex, but you don't want it, you know, it might get some of the noise rolling the car around too. It's just an experiment. I want to see what happens. Anyway, I guess I'll stick with the 5/16 so I don't have to drill out a bunch of holes. Because those seem to fit right through, and I don't want to have to drill all the casters and everything out. So we'll get some 5/16, and what are they, about 2 inches long, I guess, because this 1.5 inches, if I remember right. Let's double check. I think a 4 is 1.5 inches thick. Yep. So we'll get some carriage bolts, 2-inch carriage bolts, 5/16. 8 and 8, 8 and 8, 4 times 8, 32 carriage bolts. Let's do that. We'll just get a box of them. Is it 2-inch or should I go 2.5? Anyway, let's go get that done. We'll figure it out. We'll be back. Okay guys, we're back. I did get the nuts and bolts. Well, just bolts. I got nuts here. I got a bunch of them. We want to unbolt these. I cut these 2x4s already. I just did that, so didn't get that on camera, but that's okay. We're not a woodworking shop anyway. And we're going to unbolt this thing and see if we can get this put together. All right. There's the 3/8 drive. Okay, I think those things are like metric 14mm. 9/16 if it gets sloppy, but you still have 14. I think they're 14 if I remember right. Yeah, we'll have to hold them. Oil treatment right here. I think that might be. Let's go add it to the transfer case of the lawnmower, but we'll rob a little of that for this. Ooh, that is some thick stuff. I think that's just what it needs, though. Put that something down on there. Yeah, let's add a little more. Richard Petty made them famous. I remember that stuff when I was a kid. It's been around longer than I have. It's still here. All right. Let's get them all shot. Ooh, that's too much. Take till next spring to leak on the floor, though. Well, maybe not. It's just swinging out. So definitely makes it smoother. Alright. Yeah, those are better. I don't know if it's going to fix it. This is all a big experiment. We're just trying to take something and make it better. It doesn't work very well like it is. So that's what we do. Try to make it better. Oh yeah, that's got it where maybe it'll pivot now like it's supposed to. The back ones aren't giving me any trouble, but like I said, it's not near as heavy, so we may go back and oil those eventually. But right now, we're worried about the front. Stuff's going all over me, and it's really not that dirty. It's kind of clear in color. I remember it not being nasty. It's just thick. You mix it with your motor oil. I don't know about the caster quality, but it's definitely better than it was. I don't know if it'll do what we want. We may end up going with a heavier duty caster, but they seem to roll good, but they don't turn. I mean, I feel it. It's not like effortless. It's trying to control me a little bit. But with that said, we got one done. I'm not going to bore you with the second one. But let's just call that good. And we'll get the second one done, and then we'll see how she rolls around. Okay. We got her back down. Got the modifications done to both of them. I didn't show you the second one. But the big thing is, looky here. Watch what happens. I don't know if you can see this because I got to put my back to it. It's still hard to push, but I can move this front end by myself. I could not do that before. So, I'm calling this a success. See, I can push this thing right up against the wall if I need to. Same with the back end. The back ends didn't really give me any trouble because, like I say, it's lighter. But I'm able to move it. And that's what I wanted to do. So, I accomplished the goal. I made it better. Let's see if we can get her moved. Yeah, look at that. Couldn't do it on my own. At least, not with the energy levels I have. But, as you can see, it's rolling. And I think that's what it needed, was reinforcing it, making it flat. The wood kind of, I think, absorbs a lot of the, it dampens it a little bit, but it's not as aggressive, but it does hold the casters firm. The extra thickness, I think, versus another 1/8 inch plate across there, I think the extra thickness with those fender washers gave it more stability. But I'm not an engineer, I don't know, but it works. That's all I do know. And that's what I set out to do, is to make this thing where I can roll this car around and give myself some room, you know, shove it all the way to one wall and I can come down through here or whatever. That's what these things were intended for. And now, with the weight of the car on it, it's working. But with that said, until next week, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.